Hey y'all, it's your girl Charity B, and welcome to the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast. This podcast was designed for both men and women who are in the process or wanting to start their self-love journey. Here we discuss many topics related to self-love that promotes healthy habits that will help support your mental and emotional health, boost self-confidence, and self-worth. So get ready. This is something you don't want to miss. If you like what you hear in this episode, feel free to DM me and leave comments on my Instagram page at iam.enoughmsl. The podcast is also available on YouTube. The link will be in my description box as well as on my Instagram page. Hey y'all, welcome back to the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast. It's your girl Charity B. As usual, I hope you guys are doing great and had a productive couple of weeks. I cannot complain myself. I'm doing pretty good. I don't really have anything new going on in my life. I'm just chilling. I feel like there's a good change happening in my life. So I'm just patiently waiting. I'm just happy to be able to breathe air into my lungs. Breathe air into my lungs. So, I can't complain. I don't have that many big announcements besides the fact that the I'm Enough Mastering Self-Love podcast did make a year. Cue applause. Yay! So I'm really excited about that. And I want to say thank you to all of you guys who did support the podcast, are currently supporting the podcast. And I want to say thank you to the guests that visit the show and gave their word and we're engaging into the message of that day. I really do appreciate that. We came a long way. It's been a long year. There were some bumps and hurdles, but we overcame that. Life happened where I disappeared and things just happened. But I'm glad I had overcame that. I always gonna come back to you guys, y'all. I'm gonna always come back. So it was just, life happens. Y'all get it. But yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come for the I'm Enough brand. I look forward to. I have so many ideas that I want to do with this brand and this podcast, and I pray that it just continues to grow as it did and grow into something better and do the things that I wanted to do. And it's crazy. I was sitting here the other day and I got the little notification that we made a year, and I was just like, I remember it was a time and point I was scared to even do this. I was like, well, what if I mess up? Or like, what if people don't like it because I'm blunt? And I'm like, I eventually I got over it because I was like, if y'all don't like authenticness and realness, then it is what it is. The podcast's just not for you. Because it was like, I was listening to a couple of podcasts and I was like, it just don't sound authentic. It don't sound like themselves, And it's like, yeah, we could be here, woosah, loving yourself, say some things, na. But it's like, okay, well, where the umph to it? Like, I need to see your personality, because if I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I don't even know you practicing, and you over here woosah with me and all this calm stuff. Let's be real. It's some things that we all have dealt with, and we come from a lot of stuff we had dealt with. We gonna need more than woosah. We're gonna have to unroot them bad roots and get them out the way and throw them away and put in and grow some great, better plants in the person we want to be. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's just like, I was like, that's when I first wanted to do this podcast, I was like, I'm looking for that realness that nobody can get nowhere else, where they can be like, okay, she gets it. And that was my main goal. I remember I had wrote everything down. Mind you, y'all, I had wrote everything down 2 years prior from me starting my podcast. I just didn't know what type of platform I wanted to do, whether it was YouTube or like getting like a host and, doing it like this. And I was just like, you know what? I had gotten a place. It wasn't just for y'all. Like I always say this, and I hope y'all believe me, but it wasn't just for y'all. It was for me too. I needed something. I needed it. I was like, I need to do this. And I was like, what's better to do like a self-love podcast? Because people always have been asking me, well, why are you like this? Like, how did you get this far? And child, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I was like, I've been like this all my life. I always been like this. Charity, y'all saw the video if y'all ain't seen it on my Instagram, but Charity is always gonna love Charity. I just always been like that. Call me selfish, but I mean, I'm not like a narcissist. I still care about people. But when it comes to you trying to like make me feel bad and down about myself, Charity not having it. You can go. Like, I've always been like that. So I was just like, I need to sprinkle a little charity in everybody else, because I've seen things that happen in my inner circle as well as outside my inner circle with other people. And it's just like, I wish y'all would love yourselves how I want y'all to. And it was like, I can't do it for you, but what I can do is give you the advice. And so I just created me a platform to do it. And I was like, I'm happy I did it. And I still am happy. I would change nothing. It was bumps and stuff, but what isn't gonna have bumps, you know, if you gotta work for it, you know? So yes, I'm pretty excited, y'all, for the things to come. And I'm really excited to have this platform to be able to talk to y'all. And I'm glad for the people who came in my life with this platform. And I hope to continue to have this loving relationship with y'all, and hope y'all have that loving relationship with yourselves. And I hope I continue to give y'all a message that helps you as a person. Okay, so enough of that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on my YouTube channel. I will leave a link below. Don't forget to follow my Instagram page at iam.enoughmsl. I'll also leave that link below. And if you do not know, or just to give you a little refresher, if you do know, I did create a website for my podcast, because I know a lot of people were saying that they couldn't find my YouTube handle. And I realized like now I couldn't either. And I was very, very confused. Obviously, I need to reach out to support because what's going on. But I created the website, and it has all the videos where you can click it and get redirected to YouTube, and you go straight to it. And it also has like the different platforms where you can click on and listen to the podcast itself, or click on the episodes and listen to it on the website. Also, if you love the podcast or you like what you hear, you can leave a review on my website as well. That's greatly appreciated. Please do so. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's content. This is episode number 18, and it is called Healing Your Inner Child. Healing your inner child. Oh, y'all, this was a difficult one for me, because I was like, honestly, this is a very important topic, because in order for you to be able to really, really practice self-love and really get where you want to be, you have to deal with all the baggage and all the things that has happened to you and really made you the person you are today, or even make you make the decisions that you make today for your life. Okay. And it was just a touchy topic, and I will get there, because even though I have it all together, we all go through something. Even though I look like that, we all have went through something who made us who we are. And who says that we can't never change? Like, over time, like I always say, as we get older, or even not just through age, like as time go on, day by day, you change and be the person that you really need to be. We mature every day. And some things that I need to change for myself too, but we'll later talk about that. Okay. So yeah, again, I said I decided to do this topic because some of these experiences that we have had when we were at our most vulnerable state has stuck with us into our adulthood, and either has or is currently affecting our lives, and not in a good way. It could be affecting us within our intimate relationships, our work relationships, or work just in general, how we do our job. It could be the environment we choose to be in, environments we choose to be in, the environment we live in, the decisions we make for ourselves, and how do we react when we are faced with situations that negatively affect us. Like, do we just crumble up and lock up and get depressed and be in a room forever and just like let anything happen to us and start doing other things to cope with that? Or do we like persevere and get through it and make the best out of it and have a testimony where we overcame? So an example, in our intimate relationships, do we deflect? Do we take accountability? Accountability? Am I saying this right? Anyways, y'all know what I mean. Are we like shriveling up and locking up and not showing our feelings, our emotions when somebody says something we don't like? Are we being toxic? Are we like all on their social media all day doing all that? Like, are we just stalking? Like, what we doing? Like, are we showing some insecurities somewhere? Like, those type of things. And a lot of times that stuff stems from either being hurt over continuous time throughout our relationships, or like I said, we act out because we don't know how to deal with those situations, because there was a time in the past where we're faced with this and we couldn't help ourselves. And it's showing in our relationships. And it doesn't have to be severely traumatic to stick with us, or like something we carry with us. It could be as little as being embarrassed. I know I can tell you, or like, remember a time I was in an embarrassing moment, and I can tell you word for word what happened. And it could be like being yelled at by a parent or guardian or somebody over you. It can even be a little bit more severe as being rejected by your peers, or being ignored by somebody that's closer to you. And we all know kids especially can be very nasty, or people in general can be very nasty and mean. And it's easy to tell people, you like, it's okay that you're different, embrace that. But how can you do that when every day you're constantly being told by many people that, you know, they're judging you because you are the way you are, or how look the way you look? So it's kind of different being in the situation, you know. And it even could be a little bit more traumatic, being abused or sexually assaulted or neglected, or even experiencing death within your family or somebody close to you, death by a parent, sibling, or like I said, somebody close to you. And we probably often wonder why we act the way we do, or why we are comfortable with the version we are, and the negative and toxic mechanisms we have. And it could simply be because your subconscious hurt version of yourself is showing up in your conscious mind, and telling you what to do, and making it okay and easier to make the decisions for our lives, or attract these people that are damaged and hurt, and who like the same things, because it's our norm. We normally do this. That's all we know. So it's like, how can we switch up when we don't either know it's a problem, or we don't know that how to fix it, or we don't even know how to go about it, you know? So it's like, how do I even do that? So one common thing that I'll say, or common example that people often do, especially in the intimate relationships, you're like, okay, you probably wonder, why do I attract these type of people? Why do I attract broken, damaged people? Or why do I attract people that mean no good to me or keep hurting me? And it's because the simple answer is this: you attract what you are. Like, if you're broken, you hurt, you damaged, you don't know what you want, really. And it don't even have to be knowing what you want in a relationship. It could be knowing what you want for your life. It could be as simple as that. I don't know what I want for my life, so I might attract somebody who don't know what they want in a relationship. It don't have to be head. It don't have to be the similar. It could be some similarities, and you attract just that. So if you're wondering, like, why am I attracting broken people? Why am I attracting hurt, damaged people that don't know what they want for themselves or relationships? It's time to take a hard look in the mirror. It's something in you that you haven't dealt with, and it's showing, and you're attracting that. If you want better results, the simple answer is to fix what's in you in order to get the results, or the people or the things around you that you want to have. And it's crazy because I was talking to my friends this past weekend, and it's really wild how you attract what you are, good or bad. If you could be having everything lined up in your life and you attract nothing but good people, and you can have some things going on in your life and you attract nothing but people who got things going on in their life. You see what I'm saying? And it was crazy because I was thinking about each of our past relationships. We've each attract the same type of man. And it just goes to say, like, you attract what you are. That's so real that you really do need to take the time and really look in the mirror and be like, okay, what's wrong with me? And one of my friends, not to put nobody business out there like that, but she was like, well, I'm not grimy like that, and I keep attracting people that just hurt me like that, and I know I'm a good person. Listen, like I just said, it doesn't have to be so similar. Like, there's no spectrum that's saying, oh, or like a rule that's like, you half broken, so I'm gonna attract half broken people. You gonna attract whatever's broken on that scale. Y'all all in the same boat, basically. So it don't matter how broken that person is, you're gonna attract them. It could be as little as not knowing what you want to do with your life. Okay, you don't know what to do. You're a little off. So if that person's off, and it might be not be in the same area, they still off. Y'all in the same boat. So you attract what you are. So that just means, it just goes to say that the answers to all your insecurities and your problems and hurt and things that you dealt with, it lies inside of you. Once you figure out what's going on inside of you, you're able to fix it and attract the type of people that you want to attract, or the things and the jobs and things that you want in your life. So what we need to do, or what we have to do, is find those wounds that were created deep inside of us when we were in our most vulnerable state that never truly healed. Those things have found its way into our emotional spaces and just somehow just look like everything else, and it has changed the way we view ourselves, where we view others, and the world. And that most vulnerable state was when we were children. We need to go back to that day, or to those times, and see what really messed us up in some way or some form. So now that you got a gist of what I'm talking about, we can now talk about how to heal that inner child when we were at that most vulnerable state. And like I always say, I'm never going to tell y'all to practice something or do something I ain't do myself. I haven't did myself, and I promise you it works. I did it myself. I did these exact steps that I'm giving y'all, and I can say, because there's some things that I dealt with as a child, and I feel like they might be minuscule to any other people. Well, it wouldn't be minuscule because I actually lost my father when I was younger. But there's some other things that are minuscule that I think other people would say that's minuscule. But it doesn't matter how tiny it is. Like I just said, it doesn't matter how small the issue was. It definitely left its mark on me, and I feel like that's the reason why I'm as hard as I am. And I guess I do know why I'm like I am, but we'll get into that a little later, okay? So the first thing that I would say in order to heal the hurt that lies within you is to be aware of your inner child, okay? I was doing research, and Dr. Charity Godfrey said, you need to understand that healing your inner child requires reparenting the child that felt neglected, abused, abandoned, misused, and etc. Okay? You can either do this through a personal journey or by seeking help from somebody who is certified in that area, because some of us have a lot of pain and a lot of trauma from when we were in that vulnerable state, and when we were so pure, we got fed a lot of bad things, and it really left a mark on us. And sometimes we need help to unroot that. If you're somebody who just don't know what to do, and it's really, really affecting you, and you don't know how to unload all that baggage, I would definitely say seek help, professional help. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't hurt to still follow the steps that I'm giving, because I'm pretty sure they're going to say something similar to this. But sometimes we need a little help from somebody. Because I realize, like, when I talk to my friends and try to give basic, or just talk to people in general and try to give basic advice, it's kind of hard for them to be like, accept what I'm saying when they so stuck in the fact that they hurt and stuff. So don't be mad when people don't take your advice. Like I always say, some people just be stuck in the fact that they hurting, and they haven't got to the point that they want to move on. And yeah, you want to give them a solution to things so they can move forward, but it's something with them. Okay, they have to be ready and wanting to get out of that. Right now they just stuck in that hurt, and that's fine. It happens. They just move at their own time, you know. Just all you can do is really just be there for people. Once you have made it known that you do have some healing to do, it's time for you to figure out what experiences exactly negatively affected you in that state. Okay, what things happened back then? Was it the death of somebody? Were you not loved as much as you wanted to be by a parent? Were you ignored often? It can even be deeper than that. Were you sexually abused, or were you just abused, period? Think about those things that may have caused hindrance in your life today, okay? Like I said, for some of us it's simple, and some of us is really complex. Sometimes our parents can put their hurt and their insecurities on us without knowing, because some parents do the best they can, but without knowing they can put their insecurities and their troubles on you without even knowing. And we can tend to carry that. So that's why I said it can be as complex as that. Once you have figured out what experiences that have stuck with you and that are really negatively affecting you, you need to remember what the goal is here. And that is to remind them that you are looking out for them, and send them love, closure, and safety, that or whatever you needed back then as that helpless child. What did you need? That love, that security. You have to remember that is the intended goal here. You have to make that inner child feel the things that they need to feel in order to start healing. And I think it's easy for us to remember the negative things that happen. I'm pretty sure it didn't take you much to remember those negative experiences, and they bring back a flood of bad memories, and you probably know exactly what happened, like picture by picture, frame by frame. Like, I'm pretty sure you were able to recall those things. But the best way to try to overcome those negative things and get those memories out the way where you start healing from them is by start picturing the memories that were good. Like, were there some times where you had a great experience during your childhood, where there was a time when you felt secure and you felt safe and you felt calm and at peace? Remember those times. Try to change the narrative of how things gone. And if you can't, because some of us have had some horrible childhood experiences, if you can't remember a good experience, try to create one, something that you wanted to happen back then. What would have made that child feel calm and at peace and loved, and feel like it's okay to be vulnerable and be in that state? The fifth thing that I would say is practice mirror work. Okay, we always talk about self-affirmations, and we always talk about speaking life into yourself and positive constructiveness. But it actually does make a difference, because it's the same thing of how negative comments work. Okay, so if somebody is constantly telling you that, you'll never amount to nothing, you never be nothing, you're useless, those things, you start believing them, right? It's the same thing with positive constructiveness. If you keep telling yourself positive thing, I matter, I belong, what I want matters, I deserve love, I deserve this, I deserve happiness, you start believing those things, and it makes things easier. So start practicing mirror work, telling yourself, look yourself in the mirror every day and tell yourself, it don't even have to be that long. Tell yourself that you matter, that you deserve to be loved, that you love you, until you believe it. Speak those things unto yourself that counteract those negative words or actions that were done to you. And when you do that, I feel like you'll get that confidence and that umph in yourself to want to persevere and overcome those bad things that were said to you or done to you. It's like at that point you get that umph to want to like prove them wrong. And like, okay, I will never amount to nothing. Well, I'm about to show you. And it ain't even about them, it's about you. You about to show yourself. Because sometimes if you were told nothing but you will never be nothing, then you won't do anything to even change that narrative. Like I said, you start believing it. Now you really don't even believe you can do it yourself. You really think that you're nothing. So you can prove yourself wrong. And like I said, it's not about them. It's proving yourself wrong. And when you prove yourself wrong that you actually can do it, a lot of things start aligning and falling in place as they should. The next thing I would say is to practice self-compassion. It's easy to judge yourself, okay? People judge themselves more every day than they judge others. And it could be as simple as like this, because I'm pretty sure I fall victim to this as well. Like for me, like I say, I struggle with the PCOS thing, so it's easy to say, okay, well, you gain weight here, But when somebody else say, I gain weight, and you're like, girl, no, you look good. It's easy to judge, especially on physical appearances. It's like, it's easy to judge yourself harder, and especially if you're perfectionism in your life, your work life, it's easy to judge yourself than judging others. For some reason, we show other people compassion. And it's like, well, what about little old me? What about me? Like, stop being harsh to yourself. This one is my personal favorite. Is write a letter to your inner child. Okay. I was writing these steps, and I was like, because I was actually supposed to record yesterday, And I was like, I got emotional a little bit, like for real. And I was like, I'm about to do it. I'm about to write a letter to my inner child for myself. And I was like, I've been dealing with some things, my personal stuff. I feel like I struggle with my anger. And I've been like that for years, and mostly it was because my father had passed away, but I've always been, it just kind of like, you know, it grows a ball. And especially as a person like me, I don't like to express how I feel or be vulnerable. I don't like it because, I don't know, some point in my life it was thrown back in my face. Don't know really when, but when that happens, that kind of tends to like make people shut down. And I've always been like that. I was like, if I keep it to myself, I won't ever have to like place myself in a predicament for somebody to throw it back in my face. And you know, that's why I don't really ask for, you know, help for a lot of things, because it's like, you never going to get the chance to have one up on me to throw that back in my face. And so I'm talking about it because I feel like I've started the process of healing myself, and this letter did it for me. I literally wrote a letter to myself. I provided, for me, it was, I called it a letter to charity 8-year-old me, because that's when I feel like things happened in my life and changed my life, and I feel like I started growing into my personality and how I am, and I created these triggers over time that I not created these triggers happen, and I feel like I had created defense mechanisms that weren't really positive ones. Like I said, I shut down like easily. Well, I'm working on it, but I shut down easily. I don't like to like express myself like that, especially if somebody like do me wrong and stuff. I'll shut down, or like they'll say something to me or like try to like minimize my feelings. I'll shut down. So it's something that I'm working on, but I had to go back to where it happened, where it all happened, and just me writing these steps. I was like, that's where it happened. So I took the chance and I wrote a letter to myself, little old me, my inner child. I wrote a letter to myself. And when you write your letter to yourself, you're pretty much offering some support to that needed child. Like whatever you needed as a child in that moment. Did you need a hug? What did you need? Need to calm? What did you need? Like, say for example, if that person scolded you and like abused you and stuff, what did that child need? You needed safety. You needed to feel reassured that everything was gonna be okay. And that's what you put in your letter. You are embracing that inner child, that everything is gonna be okay. Like, and that they're loved and that you love them. And then once I got done, I read what I journaled, and I was able to let go all of that. I'm not saying like it happened overnight. I feel like I still have my triggers and I still have some work to do. I feel like I came a long way as far as that. Because as you get older, you have people you love, you get in relationships, and people treat you so well. And sometimes it's hard to know what to do with that if you kind of have that toxic trait of you of being used to like, no, I won't do this, or I'm not sharing my emotions, or that's just an example because that's just me. But I'm not doing all of that, like la 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 la. But in reality, that's something you really want. Like you yearn for that love, you yearn for that gentleness and all of that. And I'm gonna just say, like, my boyfriend, he just really gentle to me and were gentle with me. I've had significant others that didn't do me dirty, but ain't nothing like a man coming to you or someone coming into your life and showing you something different and showing you that it's okay to be loved and it's okay to love and okay to be vulnerable and stuff. We both have our things we need to work on, but I said that to say, like, I have those moments where, like, if something happens, I'll, like, retaliate wrong, and it actually end up hurting the other person's feelings, and it's like, that wasn't my intentions. But, like, yeah, it wasn't your intentions, but you have to tap out of that hardness and soften up some before you lose what God has given you. So, let's just, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But you may be saying, like, what does that letter, writing that letter to your young self do? It just allows you to express all your negative feelings and provide reassurance. I literally wrote what happened during that time, and I wrote how I felt, and I wrote what I wish I could provide to myself and what I'm writing this letter for. And I wrote it as if little old me was reading it, and I feel like it helped me detox all of that, and I was able to let go all that anger and let go all the feelings I had because of that situation. So this is my personal favorite. So I would say definitely to write a letter to your inner child, stating, you gotta go read it, but yeah, I wrote it. But so y'all won't think I'm lying. I wrote it. But yeah, it's okay to let all those things out. I think it's better. And I'm especially for me, this is perfect. I love journaling because, like I said, I'm working on it. But I don't like to express myself, or when I really express myself, I don't like to talk about my feelings like that. I rather just write it down and I get it all out and I'd be fine. So I kind of was slacking up on journaling, but I'm about to get back to it at least once a week because I don't like to. Who got time? We busy, but I'm definitely going to get back to journaling once a week myself because it's things you be going through or things, because it's okay to be the go-to person, like I always say, and people be able to talk to you about things, and you can't do the same. And it might not be because you ain't got nobody around that you can do it too. It's just some things you just want to like keep to yourself, because like if I tell y'all everything, what I'm gonna have for myself? So I just write it down in my little letter. Not my letter, my journal. So definitely write a letter to your inner child. That's the big step for me. Once you have got all those emotions out, I think it's important to identify your triggers, because Tabitha Brown once said, she said this on a post, and I hope I can find it, but she was like, healing isn't permanent. And when I heard that, I was like, that's so facts. That is so facts. That is so true, because if you realize you heal by yourself, okay? You truly heal by yourself. You're not faced with any problems. You're not faced with the same triggers. You're not dealing with people or have people around that cause these triggers to happen. So how do you know you're truly healed if you were not faced with it? And it's like when you're faced with it, you either revert back to those old mechanisms, toxic mechanisms, or you don't even know what to do, and you just like, well, damn, I got to start over from square one and healing. And that may not even be the case. You might have to start all over. I think it's just, you need to identify your triggers. What sets you off and what makes you like want to revert back to that? Like for me, like I said, the whole, like, if I feel like somebody is like sweeping my feelings under the rug, or like not acknowledging how I feel, or just making me throwing something back in my face, I'll easily like shut down. So like for me, I feel like I've learned over the time that if I'm upset about something, I need to go in my little room or whatever, breathe, take a couple hours or a day or two, because like for me, I don't face my problems head on. Like if I get in an argument with my friends, I'm not going to argue with you right then and there, because I feel like my mouth is like lethal, and I don't ever want to hurt nobody that I really care about. And I'm sorry that I'm like that, but it's just like I'd rather go hide in a closet and not talk to you for a day or two, and then come back and talk to you. Of course, I'll let you know I got to come back. I'm like, I'm not even talking to you right now. I'll come back. But I'll tell you that. But I promise you get a better charity, and a concerning and heartwarming charity when I come back those 2 days later, rather than me just like shutting down and like going ham. And it's like, girl, why are you doing that? It's like, no. So that's my way of identifying my trigger and coming up with better defense mechanisms to those triggers. And I think that's important. Like, it's something you might always deal with, and eventually it becomes part of your lifestyle, and it comes natural, and you ain't gotta like figure out, oh my God, it's a trigger and I gotta find, let me do this right. It might become, it's gonna start becoming a part of your lifestyle where it's just like things this happen, you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna even go in like that. I'm just gonna, you'll just come off smoothly with the correct defense mechanism. So I think that's important to identifying your triggers after you have assessed all of these things. And the final step, or the final advice I have, is to recognize and accept things that cause your pain and understand the impact. Yeah, it happened to you. Yeah, it damaged you severely, and yeah, it hurts. But there's no way you're gonna get what you deserve without letting that go. It's okay to be mad at the world and mad at everybody and upset and hurt, and you might be stuck there right now, and that's totally fine. But you can't wallow in that forever. There's no way you're going to get what you deserve and be the woman or man you want to be, and you still wallowing in that hurt, in that pain, in that anger, in that same space. You're gonna have to let that go in order and persevere to want to be that person or get the things that you want. And when you look back, you're like, dang, look how far I came, and don't look at everybody else's situation. Okay, just because people are with other people and stuff like that, and they in the same boat as you gotta realize your journey is different from everybody else's. That person might needed somebody else in order to get where they needed to be. But if you're not with nobody, that means you need to be alone. There's no way possible you can make something work with how damaged you are. So that means you need to take that time and really heal from all that things. Embrace your inner child and let them know that everything's okay. And when you do that, you will actually be able to let go that baggage and move forward on how you want to. I just hope that we can breathe. But don't forget to write your letter to your child for real. Like, that's the most important step that I think works. And it helps, because it helped me. Okay? So that's all I have for you guys today. And I hope that did a little something for y'all, a little razzle dazzle. I hope that you got something from it and you understood what I was saying and you got the message. Okay? Well, that's all I have. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn your post notifications. And don't forget to follow my Instagram page at Iam.enoughmsl. And I will leave the link for my website to be able to redirect it to YouTube or any other platforms to listen to the podcast. And don't forget to leave a review on my website for my podcast. Support. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay? Bye. Well, bye.